One moment. Good to go.
All right. Hello. All right. So welcome to the Nothing Media Talk, Nothing Media Zoom Talk. Well, you're very welcome, and everyone on YouTube and all the other channels that are live right now are welcome as well. Just the organizational things. So I'll give a short introduction in what this is about, apparently, and then everyone is welcome to have a conversation with me and ask questions. So, and I think everyone on YouTube and Facebook, I think you can also write in the chat and I will be able to read it here. That's, I think, how it works. But everyone here is, of course, welcome to just have an audio question. Just turn on the microphone and we can talk. However, the good news is that this isn't about anything really. So in that sense, this is not serious. There is no goal in this. There is absolutely no goal in what seems to be happening, because what seems to be happening is all there is. It's timeless and spaceless, and it's no thing. It's not something sitting in front of a screen and listening to me or thinking or feeling. Isn't something that happens now here. This is the timeless, spaceless no thing, which happens for no one, so to speak. There isn't anyone who is inside of what happens, and there isn't anything outside of it watching it. In that sense, there is no experiencing. There is no knowledge of what seems to be going on, as there is no experiencing of what seems to be going on. There is neither someone within what happens, experiencing it from the inside, nor is there anyone outside of it watching it, observing it, so to speak, experiencing it from the outside. There just isn't anyone. There is no separation at all. And that's the good news, basically, because as there is no one separate, there isn't anyone who needs to find his or her way back to wholeness. It's exactly this separation which is dreamt. And when I say it's dreamt, it actually means that it doesn't exist. This separation, I and the world, I and the universe, I and the situation, isn't real. It doesn't exist, not at all. At no time this setup does exist. That's why there's also no teaching. This message, this apparent communication isn't a teaching. I don't try to teach you anything, and there isn't anyone who could learn that. Absence, so to speak, is not a state that can be achieved or learned, that could be gotten or understood. In that sense, what this points to is that the presence isn't real. This experienced presence of I'm now here isn't real. This doesn't need to be taught. It's already not real. It's already not happening. There is no pointing to that. There is no teaching of that. There's just what seems to be happening, which is exactly this. No one's doing it. However, it's unstoppable. It's this. It's just this. Neither moving nor still. It's not going anywhere, nor does it remain the same. That's basically it, I guess. So we are done. We are through.
Hi, Andreas.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Very good.
Excellent. My question is about what you just said, which is this isn't going anywhere.
Yes.
And it really feels to me like this is something that becomes something else, and came from something else. There's something before this that became this, and this is something now that becomes something else. So how can it be that this isn't going anywhere?
Well, in the end, no one knows how this can be, but when there's no one experiencing, this just is the case, so to speak. But no one really knows why or how this is possible. But it seems to be that this only experience, that the experience that this is something happening now, going somewhere, is just a dream.
So when there's no experiencing, this isn't going anywhere. So what you're basically saying or reporting is just simply a description that's it can't be understood and doesn't really.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose it just can't be understood, can it?
Yeah. It's actually not even a real description. It's an apparent description. So it's utterly useless.
And so the words that you're saying or this message won't make any sense to the sense of self.
Yes. Yeah. Like sitting in front of a screen and talking to me doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But it doesn't care about that. It's what seems to be happening anyway.
So the only thing in the whole apparent universe that wants to make sense out of what's happening is the sense of me.
Absolutely. Yes. That's desperately hoping that all of this makes sense. That my struggle, my presence, please make sense. Because otherwise it would be very weird. It's a hope.
Now that there's no sense of self there, which is the same as an animal, basically, there's just what's happening, which includes seeing, hearing what's happening, but there's no processing of what's happening.
So to speak, yes. And this means that there's already nothing knowing that this is happening. This is already too much processing, so to speak.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay, there's a question in the chat. Hi, Andreas. If you're faced with a problem in life, do you deal with it thinking it's happening in a story? Well, no. I mean, facing problems, so to speak, or problems are what seems to be happening. When there is a person, there is the illusion that there is someone facing it and someone who needs to deal with it. But it's exactly that one which wants to deal with life or problems, which is illusory. So I don't deal with problems thinking something. I don't have an answer to problems like those non-dual concepts or something. The person might try to tell it these concepts in order to be free. It's all not real. I don't have to care. There isn't anyone. In order to answer its problems. But in that sense, when there is no one, there's just no dealing with life. There's just life. But I don't tell myself stuff, so to speak. That ended, so to speak, when I died. Okay, I think I understand it. The present moment is all there is, and it's unfolding as time. Well, the present moment is time already, so there is no time, and there is no present moment, of course. Yes, there is no experiencing of how it is at all, not a single bit. Well, as I said in the beginning, this isn't something that happens.
By this, you mean this.
Well,
that's it.
well,
There is no this.
yes, there is no this, because this would again mean this moment, what seems to be happening now, what I'm aware of now, but this doesn't exist. So yeah, there is no this.
Boom.
Well,
What boom?
boom. Well, I didn't hear anything. Yeah.
If a tree falls in the forest, is there anyone to hear it? Forget
Yes,
anyone.
exactly.
There isn't even a forest or a tree.
Yes, absolutely. What a weird question. So theoretical.
Yeah.
Who makes up this tree, this forest and stuff? I mean, hello? Some teacher.
Isn't that the wonder somehow?
Yes,
That there isn't anything yet at the same time this thing apparently seem to be.
absolutely. One could say so, but no one becomes aware of that wonder.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the funny thing, that while there is sitting in front of a screen, it doesn't happen. But yeah, it's a total impossibility.
And yet at the same time it's completely natural, you know?
Yes, it's a natural reality, which is ordinary and is all there is, and nothing to wonder about.
It's only shocking for me.
So to speak, yes. Absolutely.
And there isn't even need to be shocked.
Yeah, it's an apparent being shocked. It's not really shocking even. I mean, the person might say, how can this be? But yeah, come on, it's there all the time. Well, it's all right. That was to the previous comment in the chat. Well, I tried at least. Well, yeah. That's what the seeker says. Well, at least I'm trying to become enlightened. Well, hi, Andreas. Can boredom arise after liberation? What's boredom? I don't know. Not really. I mean, it would be quite total boredom. So Would this be boring anymore? I don't know. Probably it's not boredom, maybe it's just impatience or something. A question. Why is there even apparent arising? That's the thing. There isn't anything arising. And in that sense, how you say it, apparent, there is no arising of any kind. So there is no arising, there is no apparent arising. There's just what seems to be happening, which never takes form. It never becomes something that arose. So there is no arising of anything. This didn't arise now. This is not happening now. This didn't come out of wholeness and will fall back into it. No, it's just timelessly wholeness all the time. Well, timelessly all the time. Well, it's just timelessly wholeness. Well, timeless all the time. Yes, that's the funny thing. The only impression of things happening, of things arising, feelings arising, thoughts arising, this moment arising, it only feels like that for the person, which feels, I'm born, I became something. But when that drops, there is no arising anymore. And then there's also no question about why, because there isn't anything happening that could be asked something about. The moment there is a question of why, you must have some kind of existence that you could ask this why about. But nothing exists, not even as an appearance.
Andreas, so there's absolutely no rules to anything that seems to be happening.
Yes. No, because nothing is happening in the first place.
Okay. So the me needs rules then, because it thinks if it understands how things work, then it can make its life better or get to what it's looking for.
Well, it already seems to live in a known reality that follows rules. So it's not just that the person invents rules, it seems to live in a solid reality that has certain patterns and functions. So.
And that all collapses then with a sense of self, the idea that there are real patterns and real processes.
Yes. Absolutely.
So you couldn't explain why these Zoom talks happen, for example?
Well, yes, exactly. But I don't even know that they happen.
Right.
It's not that I'm here being aware of, hey, a Zoom talk is happening, but I don't know why. Now, there already isn't anyone there experiencing a Zoom talk.
Okay, thanks.
Why should there be a reason? Yeah, exactly. I've no idea, but some people assume that there must be a reason for why this happens. Andreas wants to become popular. He wants to earn a lot of money. He wants to help people. It happens for the poor seekers who are still caught in the deep illusion of whatever. Yeah, but there's no reason. That's all dream stuff. Absolutely. Okay, Brahman is changeless. Is that the same as what the message points to? Maybe, maybe not. It's probably what everyone understands with this sentence. Because in that sense, there is no such thing as Brahman or absolute reality. But probably in their concepts, they say this too. So all there is no thing. And there is no real change, but there is nothing that stays the same all the time. So maybe. Question. So we think we are interacting with a person, but in reality we are speaking to a body-mind organism, like a robot. Intelligent robot, that is. Yeah, it's kind of conceptual, but in a way, yes. There isn't anyone living in those bodies. So, seen from the person, this might give a robotic image, but in the end, it's just no thing. Bodies are no thing. Everything is no thing. It's all Brahman. I take it back. Hi, Andreas. Is there a difference between a dream and here right now? In a dream, others appear with feelings and perspectives, but none of it is real. Feelings appear only as an expression, not as an inside experience. Well, my impression is that in a dream, in a night dream, there is still some experiencing going on. So, I don't know. Well, no, that's the question. Is there a difference between... No, there is no real difference. I thought you were asking if it's the same, but no one knows if it's the same or not. But there is no real difference between anything. I mean, and the thing is that there's just nothing there experiencing this to be in a certain way. So it's not really like anything. How it is isn't really like anything that could be known or understood. Or... Can the person have made any decision differently? Well, no, the person never decided anything. There is no person. There were no real decisions ever. So, no, of course not. No. There's nothing to regret. Okay, here is something similar from the Bible. I, the Lord, don't change. Yeah. Yes. So there is no real change. Yes. Okay, is Brahman the real I or the real me? Well, it's a funny thing. In a way, One could say so. All there is no thing. All there is what seems to be happening. Whatever, all there is wholeness. But there isn't anything experiencing itself as that. So it's not that there is wholeness and something sitting in wholeness, knowing that it is wholeness. But of course, when we speak about wholeness, we don't speak about something, an abstract, separate reality, a neutral circumstance that somehow hovers in space or something. No, of course, what we speak about when we speak wholeness, nothing, the natural reality, is sitting in front of a screen and thinking and feeling, and it's this. So in that sense, this is what we are. This is what seems to be happening. However, there isn't anything knowing that or experiencing that. There isn't anything that arrives in that wholeness, consciously knowing it, consciously experiencing it. Because this experiencer is the dream. So I would never say that this is the real I or stuff like that, because it creates so many images, so many personal images. But of course, what we speak about is very ordinary. And it's this. What's unknowing like? Well, who would know that? I'm sorry. I keep listening to talks like this, but I never have any questions. They disappear. Like nothing really means anything anyway. Yet, there seems to be the experience of a self here. Yes. Yeah. 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 That can happen, that you kind of run out of questions, but you're still here with your apparent sense of separation. Still kind of, I mean, energetically, when there is someone, there's still a question, but it can't be put in words anymore. There's just this sense of longing. In that sense, my impression is that the person is a living question mark, but it's possible that this can't be put in words anymore. As I said, there's just longing. It doesn't have to be strong or something.
Andreas, so the person doesn't actually want its own end or its own absence. It just
Yes.
basically wants the suffering to drop, but it to be there and experience it.
Yes, the me wants to become a fulfilled me.
But the me and the suffering are the same thing.
So to speak, that's the funny thing, yes, that me and the sense of incompleteness can't be separated. They go together, yes.
Right, okay, so the suffering is just basically the sense that this isn't it, or that something's incomplete, something's missing.
So to speak, yeah, yes.
And so when me goes, that goes with it, and there's no one left having an experience of
completion.
How everything's complete, and yeah.
Yes, exactly. Completion is the natural blind reality. Yes. And exactly what the person thinks is that it can replace its experience of unfulfillment with an experience of fulfillment. Somehow overlooking that its sense of presence is the unfulfillment.
And so the sense of me being the sense of unfulfillment is what seems to hide or cover up the natural perfection of everything.
So
I don't know if you like the word perfection, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. But as I say, it seems to cover that up. It never does, because the illusion of me apparently suffering is the same perfection, but within that dream, it seems to be separate from perfection.
To be hidden.
Yeah, where perfection seems to be hidden by the impression to be separate from perfection. The personal impression is I'm here, and God, perfection, enlightenment, happiness, realization is somewhere out there. But it's not me. It's separate from me. Yes.
And even though we've just had that discussion, and I could write it down and say, okay, this makes sense, or well, it doesn't really, but I still think there's someone sitting there with an experience of seeing the perfection of everything.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever the person does, he will immediately think we talk about something that's not here now.
So you don't see the perfection of anything because
No.
you're not there, but there's
Yes.
no longer the denial that this is already complete.
Yes, one could say so. Yes, I don't see anything. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a blind perfection.
So it's not actually moving from one state to another state then in that.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's why the person constantly fails, one could say, because that's what the person is constantly trying to move on from one state into another state. And it fails and it fails and it fails because it's trying something which can't happen.
But the thing is, let's just hypothetically assume a past in which there was a separate person called Andreas. So someone felt separate in that. And then now that there's no one there, you could say the me wouldn't have wanted this.
Oh, yeah, of course not. Because the me wanted an experience. And this is not an experience.
So if hypothetically the me could see this, which it can't, and it was given the choice, do you want this or not, it would carry on seeking.
Yeah, because you can't really do that. You can't really make this comparison. Because as you say, it's totally impossible for the me to want not experiencing. It wouldn't even know what this would be. It's impossible. That's why you can't really compare and say even if the me would be able to know what it is, it just can't.
And so basically, there was just absolutely no choice in that story. Let's just say in Andreas's story, there was no choice for that dream to come to an end.
No.
It just apparently happened.
No. I tried to become a happy me until the end, of course.
And did you even think when you were listening to this message from Tony that you were getting to a better place, becoming a happier person and all those things?
Oh yeah, of course. That's what I thought. Yes.
And you realized you were dying, basically.
I never realized that. I never realized that my life will end in my death. Yeah. That my glorious path to perfect happiness would just end in my death. Yes, I didn't expect that.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. So the person isn't responsible for its suffering. It can't even stop its suffering or do anything about it. Nor can I not want to end suffering. Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah. It's just exactly as it is. Totally inescapable, inevitable. No one there who could do anything about it. No one there who could escape from it, accept it, all those things. There's just exactly what seems to be happening for no reason. Yes, no chance. Okay, is it valid to say that each individual is a unique empty viewpoint of perspective? Well, nothing's really valid to say. That's the thing. I mean, of course, all kind of stories. It's a sweet picture, but it's a story. If I hug someone, are there two simultaneous reverse perspectives from which hugging is happening? Or is there only the one apparent me perspective of I hug someone? Well, neither of those, because what there really is, what hugging someone really is completely unknowable. Because there isn't anyone experiencing it anyway. So nothing can be said about this, really.
Andreas, can I ask a quick thing?
Yes.
There's absolutely nothing attractive to the me about so-called liberation.
Yes. It doesn't matter. I mean, the person will die anyway, but yes.
Well, yeah, because I was just what you said about you thought you were on a path to your perfect life. I've just realised that's what I think, because as I've been
Okay.
that's fine. Because like, yeah, so over the last 12 or 13 months, I've been listening to this on Zoom and stuff, coming to meetings, and things seem to get easier and lighter every month. Things seem to get a bit easier, a bit lighter. It's a bit less, a bit more relaxed, all of that. And I'm thinking, I'm going to get there eventually. And if liberation does happen before the body dies, I'm going to be having this wonderful, like, perfect life. But that will all vanish, like that whole me sense.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yeah.
So liberation is not at all what I think it.
Yes. Yeah.
And it can't be conceptualized as anything.
Well, you can try, but it will never be what it is. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, it's just dreaming. It's just circling around in a dreamt reality.
Well, also, it's dreaming. One day when this happens, it'll be like that. But really, it's just this already, including the daydreaming and whatever else is happening.
Yes, one could say so, yes. It's exactly as it already is. It will exactly be as it already is. Ordinary, unknowable, inexperienced.
But when you say it already is exactly as it is, it will be exactly as it already is. I then think to myself, but there are certain things that you hear tend to drop away in the apparent end of the sound.
The funny thing, it'll still not be really different. That's the funny thing. Yes, all those things seem to happen, like the dream stops, the seeking stops, and still it's not really different.
Because there's no one there to know or claim a difference. Is that why?
Well, in the end, because it was whole already all the time.
Mm.
There isn't something that's more or less complete. It was just within the person's dream that something was less complete, but nothing ever was less complete. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Is your message similar to what we call nihilism? What's the point of life? Oh, no, because nihilism is a concept. It's a personal concept. And I know, seen from the person, this might sound as if it is nihilism, as if this is my concept that I deal with life, that as if it's the concept that I find the best to deal with life, nihilism. But no, it's just not nihilism. There is no reality in the first place that could be denied or that could be said no to. That's the thing. Seen from the person, this seems to say no to everything, but it only says no to something which is already not the case. And apparently, automatically, naturally, it says yes to what is. It's a total confirmation of this is wholeness, this is it. It's not nihilism. It just says no to all those weird ideas. And even those ideas, so to speak, aren't denied. They're just regarded as what they are, wholeness as ideas, not as truths. But I know the person believes to hear no everyone, no enlightenment, no person, no hope, no reality, all those things, but they don't exist. This is not a teaching to make those things acceptable. And this is not a message to deal with life. So, no. So we ought to come here for the relaxation, but be careful not to die. Is it? Yes. Yes. You may think you are here in order to get something, but maybe you won't survive it.
Andreas,
Hi.
I have a question about stories. I mean, so often it's been said like, oh, this is part of the story, or this is in the story, or so like after the shift, there are no stories anymore. But I mean, it seems like there's stories keep going on, isn't it?
Yes, but they are not the truth anymore. Stories are totally fine. Stories are stories, but they are not regarded as the truth anymore. I'm hungry, it's 7 o'clock, we are sitting in front of a screen. These are all stories.
So what would be the difference? Like if you speak with friends and you talk, you also say stories, and I mean it's like
There is no difference.
no, right? The same.
No. Oh, yeah, there is also no escape from stories or
Right.
need to escape. Oh, stories are totally fine.
Yeah.
No, they happen all the time.
Yes.
Apparently.
Yeah. That's what I'm noticing. It's like we keep on telling stories, so that doesn't stop.
Oh no, I mean there is no one there telling them, but
Right.
they just what seems to be. Oh yeah, of course. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks.
There is nothing else than what apparently happens. So, yeah.
Hi, Andreas.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
So feelings or reactions like anger or frustration or anything can arise, but just that it doesn't have the same meaning as maybe it once was or it once had.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And they are complete wholeness. It's not even like they are treated like, oh, well, there is anger arising. Okay. No, it's full on what seems to be happening.
Yes. But at the same time, also known that it has absolutely no meaning. Because I think it can be confusing, when anger does arise, and a lot of people are saying, well, why is it still happening? Why is it still happening?
One moment. Nee, so macht so bitte. Komm, es geht bitte zu. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so why is it still happening? Does that still mean that there's a sense of like an autonomous me here because this is arising? Do you know what I'm saying? So in that sense, I guess I would ask you, like, what happens for you when anger arises or frustration or whatever? What is?
Well, that's the funny thing. And this is really not an attempt to talk myself out of it or something, but it's just what seems to be happening. And yes, it's all of what you said. It doesn't mean anything, but it would be wrong to say that I'm aware of that on top it doesn't mean anything. It just seems to be that it automatically doesn't mean anything when there is no one attaching meaning to it.
Right, but there can still be a noticing, yeah?
But this noticing would also be apparent. It's not separate. There isn't what happens and a separate noticing of it. So the noticing would be apparent, the anger would be apparent, it would be undivided, and that doesn't have to be noticing. It would just be what apparently happens, or
Mm.
not.
Mhm. Mhm.
And nothing of that is needed. Noticing of what happens isn't needed.
It's not needed, but it's still there. I mean, it's still something that we're talking about. So I know it's, and then it just goes. So okay, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no meaning in noticing. Noticing is just a function within it's just an apparent function.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with reality or truth or stuff like that.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that now there's an arriving somewhere or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, or that it's real. The person would love to arrive, as you say, would have loved to arrive in that. Oh, well, there was fear right now. There was anger right now, or fear right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I know what's going on here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's completely dreamt.
Mm-hmm. 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 But it's interesting to, I guess, think about that, because you know, when that frustration or some sort of reaction arises, you don't know what it is. It's not, you don't know what it is. There's no real knowing what that is. But at the same time, there's also not a need or desire to try to figure it out.
Oh, not at all. Exactly.
Whereas I would say, I don't know, a couple of years ago, maybe it would be this desperate need to figure it out and fix it and make something change so it's not so uncomfortable, whatever, you know.
Whatever, yeah.
But whatever, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, of course, this drops completely.
Yeah.
Oh, nothing. That's the thing. Nothing needs an answer anymore. Neither an intellectual answer nor an emotional answer.
Yeah.
Or
Or any action or nothing. No action take. It doesn't. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It would just be what it is: frustration, anger, anything.
Yeah. And no right or wrong. Yeah. Cool.
Yes. No one inquiring into it. No one separate from it, experiencing it, trying to answer it for oneself.
Mm-hmm.
What this would mean, what this is about. Should I do something about that? Does it mean I'm still or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Just drops.
Yeah. 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 Thanks,
Yeah.
Andreas.
Thank you. Okay, there's a question. Moksha, which I think is a Sanskrit term for liberation or something. Moksha isn't anything to be got afresh, for it is already there, only to be realized. Yes, and the apparent realization of liberation would just be the dropping of the sense of separation. In the end, I wouldn't call it a realization, because there is nothing realized in that. There isn't anything that comes on top. It's just the melting away of the separate energy, and what's left is naturally free already. Okay, another moksha question. But liberation, yes. Moksha, liberation, is not to be sought in heavens or on earth or in the nether regions. It is synonymous with self-realization. Yeah, but the funny thing is what this message is saying is that what seems to be happening is just itself already. In that sense, liberation, wholeness is perfectly realized, and it looks exactly like this. But yes, it doesn't need to be, it can't be sought anywhere, and it can't be found anywhere. Exactly, because it's already everything. Yes.
Andreas?
Yes.
The feeling of wanting to take revenge is also wholeness.
wanting to take
Revenge.
revenge.
Yes.
Yeah, oh, well, if it is what seems to be happening.
Yes. But could you say that's also unconditional love, or
Well,
from
all
the
there
view
is
of
unconditional love. So yeah, of course.
Mhm.
It's unconditional love as the idea that I need to take revenge in order to be loved. That is unconditional love already, but for
Yeah.
no one.
Yeah, maybe it's not necessary, but there is a feeling or a thought that
Well, maybe it is necessary.
yeah,
Well, apparently, yes, not
yeah,
really.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but that's it already. Having this feeling or thought, or that is wholeness.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you say it is only our brains on autopilot then? That we have no soul? Yes, I'm kind of saying that. But in the end, without there being someone, there is also no one knowing that it's just our brains on autopilot. So it's a bit more wild. But yes, there is no me. There is no spirit within us. There is no soul. There is no divine principle out there running everything. Yeah, yes, yeah. That's the good news. So what does this communication do? It's to kill the me. Till the me drops, only the me hears this. This message doesn't make sense to the me. Well, it's not doing anything. This conversation, this communication doesn't do anything because it's already whole and complete. It can't do anything. So it doesn't try to kill the me. It doesn't want anything, actually. It doesn't recognize the me. I mean, there isn't anyone here. There is no one that this is happening for. We don't move on. We don't take steps. This will not lead anywhere. And yes, what seems to be happening is, as long as there's the sense of I, there will be seeking. And what seems to be happening, that whatever the seeker goes, it'll never find an answer. That's what seems to be happening here in this talk and everywhere else as well. For no reason. It seems like we are inside the mind of God and God turns out to be crazy. Things don't make sense. Yes, this didn't really make sense either to me. Yes. Question. I'm puzzled. One night I was woken suddenly from deep sleep and I saw a torch of light from my forehead, and in the light there was colors, clouds, and some dark stuff keep blocking the view. All right, there wasn't a question really attached, so I'm sorry. Are we empty or are we non-existent? Well, in the end, there is no we to be empty. That's why there is no content. So, I know, there isn't something which is empty. It's empty because it's not something. There isn't what happens and something in what happens. But this is already no thing, not something. So yeah, it can't have something in it automatically. No, yes. Hi. Even though there is no personal self, some people make it sound as if we are all one absolute unknowable subject that appears as a separate self and everything. Would that not mean we are that? Well, of course, I don't really know what people mean by that. But I know that there are some teachings around which claim stuff like we are all the same awareness, or there's just one awareness and we are all that, and that's what we really are, and that this is the one and only true reality and stuff like that. But to me, this is just the me inventing another concept. So in that sense, there isn't one thing. There isn't something which we are. There isn't one absolute reality that we are, that can be experienced. But I know there are a lot of teachings around that. I mean, it's quite easy to make up this concept, actually. Because the story is, when everyone leaves their personal story away, everyone would end up as pure consciousness or pure awareness, pure I am, so to speak. And yes, this seems to be the same in everyone. That's the personal experience. So they can simply conclude that there is just one consciousness, and that's what we are. But as I say, what this message seems to report, that even this consciousness isn't real. There is no self, neither an absolute self nor a small personal self, stuff like that. It would all be part of the dream. Okay, just as it's a what's the word? I don't know. A quote from someone. Just as the magician's tricks delude the audience alone and not himself, so also the veiling of Maya affects the creatures and not the creator. When the individual is held in the meshes of Maya, okay, there's no question to that. See diversity and also discuss Maya. Okay, there are a lot of statements. Okay, the veil is a pseudo. Okay, it's a bit complicated. Knowing is separation and separation is duality. Yes, there is no knowing. There is no experiencing. Okay, Jiddu Krishnamurti said, the observer is the observed. Is that similar to the message? Well, kind of, but it would be like that for no one. So, of course, there's just no separation. There aren't two or three or many. Me and the situation don't exist as such.
Andreas, can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
So basically, there's just whatever's happening, no matter what it is, and the me or the sense of me assumes that everything is happening for a reason, like this is leading somewhere, and that there's a meaning to what's going on. But what's happening is just what's happening, and there's absolutely no reason for it, no meaning to it.
Yes, absolutely.
And so well, you've already said it's not a real difference, but when there's a sense of self versus when there's no sense of self there, they're not even relatable, those two different, I can't even say two different realities, but the reality that me thinks experiences versus what's happening, they're just completely unrelated.
Well, in the end, they are unrelated because they are not even separate. It would only be within the person's illusion that it lives in an own personal reality, but it never does. That's the funny thing that we talk about, that seen from the person, it looks as if there are many realities, at least two, but in the end, there isn't even one reality. So it's exactly as you said, this versus the me versus no me, it's a dreamt difference. I can't make up this difference. I know the me would constantly go on claiming, but I'm here, I'm separate, I'm not you. But that's a dream.
So the sense of the difference between the me and then there not being a me only makes sense from the perspective of being a person.
Absolutely, yes.
And then when there's no longer a sense of anyone, there's just, it wouldn't be comprehensible what it would be like for there to be a person having a separate experience.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, a question in the chat. Unattachment. Does what you are talking about, is there a need for nothing to exist, to unattach from our suffering? Yeah, I wouldn't call this unattachment. There's just nothing there which attaches itself to what seems to be happening. So the idea of unattachment is an attempt to escape from that attachment, which is the person's reality. There is what happens, and I'm experiencing it. That is the attachment, so to speak. But the death of that isn't a state of being unattached. There's just no one there anymore. And what happens is totally itself. There's neither someone attached, nor is there anyone detached from that. Okay, there are a lot of comments in the chat, which is a bit difficult for me to sort this out. So I'll just go for the questions. I'm sorry. Andreas, do you know UG Krishnamurti? Well, yeah, apparently. I've read something. Yeah. Okay, there is no one is also just a story. Non-duality is another dual concept. Duality and non-duality. This is just another dualistic message. Well, there just is no message, but I understand that it can seem like that, as if this is another teaching, that you can teach there is no one to someone, as if it's just an opposite state of there is someone, there is no one, and stuff like that. And of course, there is no such thing as non-duality. So yeah, regarding this message as a concept, it would still be dualistic. Yeah, but it's not a concept. Okay, pure awareness is held to be impersonal and a kind of liberation. Buddhists talk of conscious awareness. This is again the dream of separation, which is duality. Yeah, one could say so, yeah. I mean, usually they just speak of a state of being pure awareness. And that's just another state. Yes, it's just another self-experience. And enjoying is apparently happening. Liebe Grüße. Hey, that was German. Liebe Grüße zurück. Many greetings back. I mean, the thing is, what we speak about here just can't be known. So it's not something that someone can realize. The moment there is something to realize, it's not this message. And then, yes, it's true. Then it would be a teaching or another concept or something. But what happens, what seems to be happening, can't be realized. There is no realization at all. The moment, as I said, the moment there is a certain thing to realize, it must be different from anything else, and then it would be dual or in separation. But there is no message. Some other special non-dual lady said, so you already got that I'm special. That's great. No, I'm not. I'm sorry. Okay. One other special non-dual lady said, it's empty of concepts, but full of love. Do you agree, or do I have to go to tell her she's wrong? Well, I don't care, actually. I don't know. It's impossible for me to make this not another carrot. What do you say? Oh, yes, of course. Yeah. As long as there is the sense of I am, there is the sense of that there is something to get, that there is a carrot. And of course, the person will turn this event and this message into another carrot. Of course, automatically. The person will think we talk about something that can somehow be understood or gained or realized or stuff like that. Absolutely. Yeah. It thinks that we talk about something that one can get, liberation, the end of me, and all those things. But those things don't exist. It's not that there is a me which can become no me and all those things. There's just no one there in the first place.
Yeah, I think you can also say everything is liberation.
Yes, everything is already free to be itself. That's the freedom.
Yeah.
And that's just as it is. It's not something that needs to be understood or can be achieved.
Yeah.
There already isn't anything limiting anything. Yeah, absolutely.
Andreas?
Yes.
Hello. I have a question then. If there's no me, why would you even have emotions? Why would you get angry if there's no me? I mean, why would you love someone if there's no other? Why would all that exist in this dream world? Is hunger, is that a dream also? Is tiredness a dream? Are those things dreams too?
Oh, well, the only dream is the experience of those things and the assumption that they are real things. When there is no one knows anything about hunger or sleep or anger. They just seem to be what apparently happens. But no one knows that as well. So what we speak about is a totally blind reality. And there is absolutely, one moment, and there's absolutely no answer to why.
Okay, but in the dream, there seems to be answers to why. I mean, we know 1 + 1 is 2. We're speaking English. I can't speak German. So in the dream, there are rules and we seem to get somewhere. We go to school, otherwise there wouldn't be any school for kids. In the dream, it seems like that there is somewhere to get for the individual.
Yeah, but that's the truth. I mean, the thing is, when I say there is somewhere to get or there is nothing to get, it of course only refers to the sense of the person to be on a personal path, and that's a path to personal fulfillment. And that I learn stuff and get fulfillment back, that I have good experiences and that they provide fulfillment for me. That never happens. But yeah, apparently going to school happens, growing old happens, losing hair happens. Absolutely. But
Are
there
those things-
isn't anyone going somewhere with that.
Okay. So that would be mainly the mind that's mixed in with everything. Everything is else, like getting old is real. But if you think it's me, that's not real.
Yes, but it seems to be, it's a story, but it seems to be a felt and experienced reality. That's the funny thing. Seen from the person, it really feels as if there is something in here
Mhm.
that is now here and that is having a life and that's moving on within reality. And that there is something to find. It's not I wouldn't say it's just the mind. It seems to be that for the person, it really feels like that. I'm here now. There is something going on now. Come on, don't tell me anything else.
So if your wife were to say, Andreas, you have to sharpen your attitude, and I think we need to go see a psychologist because you're doing this and this and this,
Yes.
how would that register? It would be, to me, it would be directed towards a me. I don't think I would answer my wife that, well, there is no me and there is no you.
I don't do that too, because it wouldn't arrive anywhere. And there would just be a reaction, which wouldn't be done by anyone. It's not that I would answer with this message as a concept. There wouldn't be anything here, even understanding what she wants from me, because there isn't anyone here.
Right.
But a reaction might happen, like, oh, let's go, or I don't want, or come on, or whatever. But it wouldn't come from any kind of experience or concept. I'm not allowed to go to a therapist because there is no one. No, no one there.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I can't explain you how that is when there is no one. It's just a direct report that there is no one.
Right.
This sense of I'm now here, me, Andreas, this thing, whatever it is,
Yeah. But in the end, there is no difference between you having no one and me having someone. Is that both the story too? Is it helpful that I come to these meetings, or is it more detrimental that I come to these meetings because it emphasizes a me trying to get somewhere?
well, neither nor. The thing is that, of course, wherever the person believes to be, it tries to confirm itself, and it tries to confirm itself in going to the cinema and enjoying the movie. And it'll also try to do this here. Good that I'm here. I'm on a path towards enlightenment. Here we talk about enlightenment. Good that I'm here. Good that I'm me. That this will happen anyway, wherever the person goes, so to speak. That's just what seems to be happening. On the other hand, you're completely right. This discrimination that you just made, you are someone and there isn't anyone, that is dreamt. There is no real difference between us because there is no us. There isn't an I within you and there isn't an I in here. That's why it's of no help to be here.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, Anita, I think we interrupted you a bit. Do you still?
Yeah, but but it's gone. Yeah, so yeah, no.
All right.
It feels more like there are no words for,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
And also it's very obvious. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it completely doesn't need words. That's the interesting thing, that sitting in front of a screen and talking and feeling and doesn't need to know itself. It doesn't need to say itself, hey, I'm sitting in front of a screen today.
Yeah, but it's my English is wait. I don't know. Yeah, it's a little bit strange that there are some people that are talking about this, but you can't say anything about it.
Anything, can't
No.
say anything. There isn't one statement which is true.
No.
No, and this statement wasn't true as well. There are no statements.
Yeah.
There is no reality where statements could be made in or made about.
No. Yeah.
Impossible. Yeah. That's why you can say anything again. It won't be true anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, seen from the person, there can be such a hope to at least find one truth, something that I can say at least about this moment, about life, about what's going on. Something, but it's impossible. And not only in a big thing, but also about this. You can't find a position and say, yeah, well, at least there is sitting in front of a screen. But, oh, no.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Andreas.
Hi.
You have always been saying this, of course, but today it comes to me over and over again. So now I want to say it, that, you know, knowing or understanding that that's just an appearance, and the person just stubbornly refuses to admit that, you know, not consciously, but this is going on all the time. And also that, of course, if that would be an understanding, that would be the same also. And that is the whole thing, isn't it? I mean, the message. So all understanding is misunderstanding in this way.
Of course. Oh, yeah.
Because understanding is just an appearance.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So this is
Yes.
a question. Do you agree with this?
Yeah, totally. Of
description?
course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Understanding is illusory.
Yeah.
There
And
is no-
it's kind of funny when this perspective. For example, I began with, you know, I have seen this many times with others, and of course this happens with me equally when they say, you know, oh, I get it now, everything is an illusion. But that is itself, they don't see that is itself also an illusion. So it's just kind of a joke, you know. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that this whole reality where something could be understood doesn't exist. And the same thing, it doesn't matter if it's the big thing, life itself, or the other things, being in a relationship, what a tree is, what weather is, what talking is. The person thinks these are all happenings that could be understood, separate happenings, separate realities. Of course, I understand speaking. I know what speaking is. I know what a relationship is and stuff like that. But those things aren't things. There are no circumstances that could be understood. So there's just what seems to be happening, including understanding stuff, but nothing ever became understood in understanding.
Yeah,
It's not
it's
real.
funny. It's very funny because I asked you a few weeks ago, about the word "this" is like a joke because it's not really a word. But then you said so is, knowing that the spaghetti is too much salt is also equally, illusory.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Oh, it's so futile. This whole seeking business is so futile. It doesn't lead anywhere. And there isn't a single kind of realization possible. There isn't a single, that's how it is. Forget it. Forget it. Won't happen. Can't happen. Doesn't need to happen. It's just a dreamt. No one understood anything. No one needs to understand anything. But understanding apparently happens, of course. But it's never real.
It feels like the me it needs to confirm itself. So even like here for me, I feel like, ask questions and it funds it because I think that you have found reality that is true.
Yes.
So it's looking for confirmation.
Yes.
In the questions.
Yes.
And it thinks that then you tell me a certain reality that you describe as how it is, and then that's the ground floor, that's the truth. And I ask more and more questions about it, and finally, eventually, I'll build out a full picture when I will know exactly what it's like.
Exactly. Yeah. I think the person has the impression that it's working on this puzzle.
Yeah.
And every answer, another part, I understand. Time is a concept. Another part of the puzzle. Okay. And 5 minutes later. So what about space? Space is an illusion. Okay. Space is an illusion. Where does this fit in the picture? Let's put it here. Just a little, yeah. But it never happens. The whole puzzle thing never happens. There isn't anything there isn't anyone on a path. This whole puzzle is dreamt already. The puzzle called my life or existence, and I will make it into a perfect picture. It never happens. There was never the first part of the puzzle even. The person thinks, well, maybe the last part is still missing, or I have half of it. No, it was never there.
But it can't stop.
No. Oh, yes, can't. Yeah. Because it's not an it, which is separate, that can do or not do things.
Just drink a beer.
Well, I wouldn't suggest that too.
It cannot even drink a beer.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You can't even do that. It would be happen or not.
That's horrible. You cannot even try to drown your sorrows.
That's the thing. You can't even drink a beer. Yeah, that's really bad news.
Andreas, if these
Yes.
meetings don't help anyone, and clearly they're of absolutely no help or value to the sense of me, I'm just thinking, why are they happening? You've already said they're not happening, haven't you?
Exactly. This would be the standard answer. They are not happening. Yes.
Because it seems to me like me or people or whatever come here to get some answer or find some kind of truth or solution or whatever it is. This message has absolutely nothing to offer anyone.
Yes.
It also says there's no one that could be helped. But then I think these meetings are really happening. What is the function? But
well, that's the thing. The moment something experiences itself, the moment something says, well, I'm now here. There is some kind of experience of something going on. I'm now here. Okay, there's this meeting going on. What is this about? So this question of why is it happen? What's the sense of this? Automatically arises with a sense of self-fulfillment. It's just coming instantly out of this sense of I'm here, and as if immediately, instantly, something is missing. And that's the first symptom of separation, so to speak. Why is this happening? So, and there is no answer to this. Or you can invent 1,000 answers, but they would all be invented. But it's this first sense of self-awareness, which is illusory already. It's this first, hey, I'm here.
it doesn't even matter if I believe you.
No, of course not.
Because I could say, okay, I'll believe you. And what good is that to anyone?
Well, but absolutely, it wouldn't matter. It would be as futile as believing me, not believing me, whatever. It completely and utterly doesn't matter.
Really?
So
there's a parent conversation happening, a parent looking at a screen happening, all of that stuff. And the me creates a context that this is part of a bigger picture called a meeting.
Oh, only, yes. Because what the person does by experiencing, it cuts out this moment out of totality, has this small something that happens now, and it's instantly part of a bigger picture. This moment is a part of my life. There's just this moment now, but it's part of this bigger project, which is called my personal fulfillment. Constantly overlooking that this moment, so to speak, is all there is and is everything, but for no one. But it's exactly this experience of awareness, of self-awareness, which cuts out this moment and says, oh, this is going on. I'm really here, and what I'm aware of now is real too. But in a very funny way, there is this instant experience of, well, this can't be everything. It's nice, it's fun, it's interesting, but it can't be everything. So it must be about something. Sorry, we are not just here sitting in front of a screen for no reason. That just all goes together with the sense of I am. And when the sense of I am turns out to be illusory, not as a concept, not as some kind of belief system, when the sense of I am, the sense that I'm now here, crumbles for no reason and dies without anything being left, of course, this whole dream collapses with it. Why am I here? What is this about?
Right, that makes sense. So, like, from my perspective, I think I'm here because this is going to help me get to wherever, whatever. If there was a sense of self, there could be a story of I'm here to earn a living, for example, but there's no context of this is happening because, or why is this happening, or what's it for?
Because there isn't anyone here in the first place. And there isn't absolutely, yes, there isn't anything which sets this in a bigger context. There is no bigger context.
And what you said about
completely dreamt.
What you said about the me thinks it's here as part of a bigger project called my life. So there's no sense of anyone having a life. Here, I think I have a life, and this is a small section of my life. But that's dreamt. So there's no one here who has a life either.
Yes, absolutely. We are not different in that. It's not
no
that
one
you
has
have
a life,
and I don't. There is no one living. This presence, this so-called presence, isn't real.
And for there to be someone having a life, well, or for there to be a life, there needs to be time before, now, and after.
Well, this is the personal experience. I'm now here, consciously present, alive. It's sensible, it's feelable. I experience myself. Of course, I'm now here. Yes, that is the dream. That is the personal experience, which will never be able to see or go beyond itself. The going beyond that would just be the death of that, but it wouldn't be anyone doing it.
So all this message can point out, because it can't say what it is when there isn't anyone. So all the message can point out is illuminating the nature of the dream.
That's what it apparently does, but it can't do that. And it doesn't do that for a reason. But apparently that's what seems to be happening, yes.
And that can then in that be a sort of eroding away of the seeking experience.
Maybe. I don't care.
Okay. I think. Thanks.
Thank you.
So nothing is happening.
Yes, yes, yeah. And it's not that actually nothing is happening. Sitting in front of a screen is nothing happening. Yeah. Why didn't the state non-duality come by default? Why do we have to realize or attain it? Well, the thing is that there is no state of non-duality. What seems to be happening is already non-dual. So there is no attaining of non-duality, and non-duality has never been lost. This would be part of a dream, but in a very funny way, this apparent dream is non-duality as well. So there is no answer to why. If there's no one even right now, why is everything so personal? Which is not the case at your end, where there's actually no me. Well, there's no me on your side as well, and there is no answer to why. Who would be able to answer it or know the answer? That's the funny thing. Personal and impersonal don't exist as such. It just is as it is. And there's just no person at all, anywhere. So even personal is impersonal, so to speak, or even behind what you would regard as personal isn't a person sitting. Are arising appearances completely independent from each other, completely spontaneous? Well, that's the thing. There aren't appearances arising. There isn't anything taking form. There's just what seems to be happening, but nothing coming into existence. This impression that things arise, feelings arise, thoughts arise, is coming from the person, which experiences itself as having been born, having been arising. I'm now here, and within my awareness, things come and go. But that's the dream. In that sense, there is no answer to your question, because nothing even arises. Okay, Andreas, tell Tony that the apparent falling of me can happen with psychedelics, because he said that it's impossible in just another experience, but here it still happened. Okay, but it wouldn't happen because of, it would just be what apparently happened. Well, thank you. Non-self or not self, are these the same? Well, I've no idea. It just depends on what you mean by that. So there's just no real self around. Okay, you are here. You are just empty. The self is empty, not non-existent. We are objects in reality, just empty. Well, the problem is, if there is no one, there isn't anything left which could make that statement. Who knows about there being objects in reality, empty objects? Sorry, and there is no one. There is no experience of there being empty objects in space. It's a concept, I would say. Is death an illusion? Well, no one knows. Life is an illusion. So if there's already no life, there isn't anything, my cup, there isn't anything like death. There isn't anything alive in the first place. Andreas, do you know who can communicate this message in the best possible way? It's Mr. Deep Sleep. Yes, I mean, probably you're not realizing that you're talking to someone who's deeply sleeping. So that's why you don't get anything out of this message. It's basically as if I would be snoring. It just sounds like words, but it's snoring actually. There is no one. That's what my partner, Andreas, you were sleeping and you were speaking in sleep. Well, oh yeah. How is it that you often say in the end? I don't understand the end. Yes, I'm sorry. There is no in the end. That's really chatting. Yeah, I'm sorry. Forget it. Yeah, I take it back. Okay, the me is always looking for ground to stand on, as without a ground it will fall down and die. And this ground can be anything from asking a question, seeking entertainment, etc. Yes, exactly. On the one hand, it already experiences itself as safe ground. I am. That is its safe ground. But it seems that in order to be fulfilled, it seeks something like itself out there, as if by being only me, there is a sense of aloneness and being lost in space. So I need something that is as reliably there as I am, something that's also always there. That's where all those ideas of God come from, and a safe ground or an absolute truth, something that I can always count on when I need it, something that's always there when I'm there. That's the hope that I can always rely on, where I can always go to when I feel bad. But it starts with itself, with the impression that I am really existing, that I'm something that is in time and space, that I'm now here, that I have been 5 minutes ago, an hour ago, yesterday, for the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years, that I'm something that's going on. That seems to be the safe ground for the person. Oh, it's not safe. So, but seen from a person that is the experience, an undeniable experience. I am, until it dies, of course. Do you understand? Understanding is not required. Oh no, of course not. No one understands that. It's just not required. Yet it happens. Beer drinking. Lucky you. Believe for other people meditation and stuff like that happens. So, I'm joking.
Andreas, so the person just wants to be in a state of constant happiness.
That's what it thinks, yeah. And it thinks that when I arrive in that state, my seeking will stop. Yes.
But it will never ever, it's impossible for anyone to ever be in a permanent state of happiness or anything like that.
Well, not really. I mean, who knows? But I mean, my impression is the person just looks something deeper, personal fulfillment. And all the things that it seeks, so to speak, happiness or meditation or a silent mind or whatever, are just, seen from the person, those would just be the tools to finally become one again, to end the search or become personally fulfilled.
Yeah.
My impression is just.
But if there's a sense of a person, there's always a sense of this is incomplete. So even if it was in a state of permanent happiness, it would go, oh, well, this is boring now. I've been happy for a few days, or the thrill of the happiness would wear off. It'd be like, oh, it's not as good as it was yesterday.
Kind of something like that, exactly.
Never be finally content with the way things are.
Exactly, so to speak, whatever, even it seems to work out, whatever you want, what you're actually looking for wouldn't be provided. No matter how big the amount of money is that you get, no matter how many insights you have, no matter how many times your heart opened, no matter how many times you saw that there actually is no me, the moment you are there, apparently, you are already there and beyond fulfilled.
Yeah, so even after a glimpse, when the me returns, it's like, well, that was spectacular, but now I'm back.
So to speak, it's immediately included into one's personal story and included into one's path to the actual thing. That's the thing. For the person, this moment is only a step towards the actual. No matter how good it is, no matter how deep and profound it feels, it just wasn't it. It was great, and it looked like an important step, and wow, something really happened. But I'm still on a path towards the actual thing. That's the
And it will think it is on a path towards the actual thing until it dies.
So to speak, yes. Yes. It doesn't know anything else. That's the thing. The person doesn't know anything else than being a person. Automatically. That's just.
But the thing is, it seems to me, and I mean, I don't know, that for most of the people in the world who feel like separate people, they wouldn't have a problem with feeling like a separate person because they wouldn't recognize that sense of unfulfillment. They'd think, I'm getting somewhere. Whereas people like me, and I'm assuming other people who perhaps are listening to this, or maybe even people in spirituality, I don't know, they might have recognized the futility of trying to get somewhere, but they still feel like they're trying to get somewhere, but it's just not working out.
Yeah, that's possible, yes.
I mean, not in this case.
I mean, experiencing oneself as someone isn't wrong. This is not a wrong thing. It's just what seems to be happening. And most people are apparently quite happy with it because to some degree their story just works out. And that's totally fine.
Why would they want to give up the seeking? They have moments of maybe desperation or unfulfillment where it's recognized they're unfulfilled. But then, they know that they've got something to look forward to around the corner where they'll feel good again. And
yeah,
there's always hope. in that.
Oh, yeah, of
like,
course. Yeah. Same for you, actually. I mean, an hour ago, you were telling me that you think you're on a good path, and that, so it didn't sound too bad.
hope comes, hope goes.
It was just a dream, but who cares? I mean, there is no real reality anyway.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Right, no, sorry, Andreas, I've just realised something I wanted to say quickly. So I think I'm on a special noble path compared to everyone else. I think there's me and the people at these non-duality meetings. We found the right way to seek.
Yeah, well,
People are still chasing other things while they're still, you know, they're not getting
I
to
know.
where we're getting.
Yeah, they are still chasing this material stuff or the spiritual stuff. Yeah.
They'll never get to the final liberation like we
Yeah.
will. Yeah. Meanwhile, they could have their sense of self dropping in the middle of trying to make loads of money, and I could be coming here and still feeling something's got to happen still.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes no difference where you're seeking. If you're seeking, you're seeking. You're not better than anyone else. Yeah.
I think that's the seeker's worst image, the spiritual seeker's worst image. Someone who makes millions and billions from, I don't know, trading with weapons and stuff. Suddenly the me drops. Fucking hell.
And I've been coming to these meetings. I should have been doing that.
And I've been coming to Andreas again, and oh dear, what?
Andreas, do you fancy becoming a weapon smuggler?
Why?
Thanks.
Thank you.
In that sense, what seems to be unfairness for me is the fairness.
Yes, nothing being real is the fairness. But within what the person would regard as real, a real world, there is no fairness. Yeah.
Yeah, because fairness comes from sense of needing to fulfill me.
Yes, that's
The
the
sense
hope.
of the person needs the sense of fairness because it wants, yeah.
Yeah, it's a hope that life is fair. Yeah. I was hoping for that as well. Turned out to be not the case. And it starts with this hair thing, even. So that's totally unfair, I think. Fortunately, I don't have to deal with that crap anymore. Not that the hair situation gets better with that, but okay. It's a question in the chat. I get that there is no knowing. If so, the infinite would then be something.
I know it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, thank you. Then be something finite. It would become an object for someone else, which is of course impossible because there is only the infinite. Yeah, so to speak. Yes, there's just what seems to be happening, and it's timeless. It's timeless, spaceless. Absolutely. It's no thing. What happens isn't something. Sitting in front of a screen is not a circumstance. It's no thing. It's unknowable. And this is the timeless, spaceless no thing. It's not, when I say that, there is this no thing and stuff like that, or it is timeless, I don't refer to a hidden reality. I don't refer to a hidden absolute reality that's somewhere hidden within sitting in front of a screen. No, sitting in front of a screen and thinking and feeling and the computers and the rooms are no thing. They are timelessly and spacelessly no thing. There is no separate or deeper reality in sitting in front of a screen, or around sitting in front of a screen, or underneath it. It is this. This is the timeless unknown. It's very direct what we talk about. It's just this. It's not theoretical. It's not conceptual. It's not, as I say, it's not inventing another separate reality.
It's a kind of recognition. No,
Well-
it's a recognition.
Well, I wouldn't actually say so, that there is a real recognition about something. I don't have the impression that I recognize something certain or special.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, when I'm asked, there seems to be answering, but I'm not walking through life constantly recognizing wholeness or something.
No,
It's,
no.
yeah, I'm just, maybe
Mhm.
some people might think so.
Mhm.
There's absolutely no interest in how it is.
Yeah. Mhm. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I listened to many teachers who sounded very radical, and then was introduced to real radicalness when I came across this message. Well, yeah, it's two things. I mean, seen from the person, this message seems to be utterly radical. But for the person sitting in front of a screen for no reason is radical. But what we talk about is just sitting in front of a screen. It's natural. What we talk about is ordinary and natural and not radical at all. It's just this. Maybe one could say it's radically itself and it doesn't compromise. Sitting in front of a screen doesn't compromise. It's just exactly what it is. In that sense, it may be radical. Okay. Can we say that knowing, not intended as an activity of someone in time, is the essence of the infinite? I wouldn't say so. Blindness is the essence of what happens. Because there is no experiencing. There is no seeing itself. There is no knowing of itself. Same thing, sitting in front of a screen is blindly itself, but it doesn't know it. It doesn't even experience itself to be happening. It doesn't even know if it is or not. Okay, in other words, can we say that the isness of the infinite isn't separate from its own and immediate knowing? Well, yes and no. In a way, one could say so, but it would still be blind. I mean, that's the thing. If you ask questions, there is an immediate answer coming, and it might look like knowing. But in the end, it's just a blind reporting. It's wholeness telling about itself. But it's not a state. Because otherwise, it seems to me just an abstract idea, the so-called mysteries, like the tree in the forest or the state of deep sleep. Things. Yes, but that's what in a way they are. They're just empty concepts. Who would know what they are? The trees in the forest, the state of deep sleep. It's all unknown. Oh, thank you. Nothing is more obvious listening to this. Andreas, you seem particularly good at bringing nothing. Yes, my whole family found this out. Nothing is really what I'm particularly good at. Plus a sense of humor. Yeah, well, at least something. Thank you very much. There is no one is a conclusion, one you obviously believe in. How do you know it is truth? Oh, no, there is no one is absolutely not a conclusion. I know there are a lot of teachings who try to conclude this, and they do all kinds of mental acrobatics, is that the right word, to somehow come to this conclusion. And I don't believe this. There is no one can't be believed, or, well, the person might try to believe it, but this is not what this message reports. And I don't know in that sense that it is the truth, because who would be there to know it? But believe it or not, I don't care. What seemed to have happened is this crumbling of this sense of I am. And what seems to be happening here is a report from that death. It may sound special, but it completely isn't. It's very ordinary. But this can't be known. And I can't convince you of that. It's impossible, because then it would be a concept. And you're right, there is no one doesn't make sense. Because in which reality should there be someone or not someone? In that sense, of course, this statement is a story. It can't be known at all. But it's also not something I claim. I have successfully become no one. Well, that's really... That's kindergarten, I think. Okay, somebody, just a body, is not a teacher when they don't act like one. Ah, yeah, they don't hold talks, don't spread a message, don't answer questions. Denying the obvious means fear of responsibility. Okay, all right, so that's what you think. But the good news is that I'm not a teacher. So that's the good news, basically. Everybody alcoholist here. No, we are just messing around with that. It's not that bad. I mean, there might be some truth in it, but but not deeply.
There is no one here.
Yeah, there is no alcoholism. What was it? Denying the obvious. Fear of responsibility. Yeah, that's what it is. Well, no, there is no alcoholist here. Don't say anything, Joey. Okay. Oh, there's so many questions in the chat. I think we're just over in a minute. Yeah, I think this alcohol issue is a good thing to end.
Andreas, can I ask one last question?
Yes, go for it.
Excellent. So basically, the me seems to take everything seriously because it thinks that I've got to get somewhere and my life's important and it's got to work out. So when there's no longer a sense of self, because there's no longer anything happening or anywhere that needs to be got to, anything needs to happen, is that why there's no longer taking anything seriously because nothing's real?
Yes, one could say so, but it's not a position. It's not someone not taking things real and making fun of everything. But of course, the assumption that there is a real life and a real existence, and that this life really is about something, is part of that dream. It's part of this sense of I am. And yes, of course, when this drops, or when this turns out to be illusory or non-existent, of course, its whole reality turns out to be illusory as well. Meaning, reality, it's about something. I have to be aware, I'm on a path, my suffering is real. It really needs to be answered. Please. Yes, this completely drops. And nothing means anything, because everything is wholeness already. That's the freedom. And in a way, apparently there is a lightness about that, but not for someone. It's not an experience of lightness. I don't know if I'm especially light or not as a person, but the lightness is that everything already is what it is, for no reason, without the need for something, without the need for something deeper. Me becoming enlightened, me arriving, me finding true peace, me finding true happiness, and all that stuff. It's a dreamt need within a dreamt reality.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Joey.
Yeah, sorry, it just popped into my mind. So, when I ask a question about when the sense of self drops, or when there's no more me, it basically comes out of the structure that something is going to happen. I'm waiting for something to happen, and what will it be like?
Yes.
So,
yeah, of course.
Yeah. I was gonna say, so it's automatically off from the wrong start, but you can't be on the right start either. There's not even a start.
And there's nothing wrong about that. It just is what it is. And yes, when there's the sense of a person, there will be a question coming out of that sense of being someone. Well, yes. Yeah.
It has to, because it is.
It's inevitable. Totally. It's not right. It's not wrong. It's just what seems to be happening, and it's inevitable. And there is no right way to be. I don't think actually there shouldn't. If everything would be all right, there wouldn't be a me, and there wouldn't be those questions. No, it's just what seems to be happening. No one's doing it. No one could prevent it from happening. It's wholeness. This is wholeness. Asking people, assuming themselves to be someone, asking questions, not getting answers. That is it. It's not leading anywhere. It doesn't happen for a greater goal. Not a single bit. All right, Joe, you froze. So I just... Okay, I'm sorry for everyone in the chat. I couldn't do all of it. And thanks for the comments and the questions. And also here, thank you for the questions. There is no message. There is no suggestion. There is no...
That's a relief, actually.
Again? Sorry, you froze again. I just do the final thing. All right. What did I say already? There's no message, no suggestion. All there is what seems to be happening. All there is this, and it's naturally complete. It's ordinary. Wholeness, harmony, completion is the natural reality. It's ordinary. It's not a special state. There is no special state at all. There's just what seems to be happening, and it's naturally complete for no one. Thank you very much for joining. I wish you a lovely...
Thank you so much, Andreas. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Very much.
Goodbye.
Thank you,
Thanks
Andreas.
for joining. Have a nice day.
Thank you,
Thank
Andreas.
you.
Bye. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.